China's draconian crackdown on the Uyghur Muslim community in Xinjiang province and the human rights atrocities. Details about the crackdown are difficult to come by because of China's guarded manner of functioning. But the New York Times newspaper has now accessed 400+ documents of the Chinese Communist Party that reveal intricate details about the Uyghur camps. Let's take you through some of the key revelations that have been made. The documents say that President Xi Jinping is at the center of this crackdown. It was his policy decision and brainchild. Terror attacks on foreign soil spooked Xi and his officials to purge the Uyghurs. Xi then entrusted this job to Chen Quango, the party boss in Xinjiang, a man widely known for ruthlessness against the Muslims. In 2016, he was shifted from Tibet to Xinjiang, where he issued a call for officials to rally around Xi Jinping's vision. A year later, Chen ordered the police to be ready for a quote-unquote smashing, obliterating offensive. He asked officials to round up everyone who should be rounded up. The documents show extensive diktats from the Communist Party to its officials, diktats on how to respond to skeptics of the Uyghur camps. The first is the training school argument, where officials are asked to call the detention camps schools from where you cannot leave, a form of free education being provided by the Chinese authorities. The second argument is that your behavior outside can extend or shorten your relatives' detention in the camps. And then there is the points system. The document says, and I'm quoting from it, family members, including you, must abide by the state's laws and rules and not believe or spread rumors. Only then can you add points for your family members. After a period of assessment, they can leave the school if they meet the course completion standards, unquote. That is the points system, as the documents reveal. But the man pulling the strings is undoubtedly the president himself. As per the documents, Xi Jinping has been giving a series of speeches where he was categorical that there must be no mercy in the way the Uyghurs are dealt with. Xi says that his country's tools are inadequate against the blades of the Uyghur Muslims. He calls for his government to be as harsh as his perceived enemies. And most crucially, he demands that the tools of the people's democratic dictatorship must be wielded without any hesitation. But the immediate question that arises is, will these new details change the stance of many of China's allies, most of whom have turned a blind eye to the detention camps in Xinjiang? For instance, Pakistan. It cries foul at every global platform about alleged human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir, but never calls out China for the Uyghur detention camps. Nor does it have any qualms in accepting billions of dollars in aid and investment from Beijing. It's not just Pakistan, even Russia, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt. They've all supported China despite the gross human rights violations in Xinjiang. And this has only emboldened China to carry on without any fear of repercussions. And joining us in the broadcast is a very special guest, Dr. Halmurat Uyghur, a Uyghur activist and president of Uyghuraid, joining us from London. Thanks very much, Dr. Halmurat, for speaking with us. These documents reveal what it's like as a part of the crackdown against the Uyghurs and what it's like as a part of those detention camps. But there's hardly been any outcry from the global community against China. Why do you think that is?
My thought is it's already past the time. How much information, how much evidence we could bring to the world to let them understand how serious is the situation of Uyghurs. The millions of people now suffering in those concentration camps, even the people who released from the camps sent to the forced labor factories producing the goods that consuming here in the West and other countries. So my thought is, world need to act now and immediately to stop this atrocity.
Right, and as the documents reveal, President Xi Jinping himself has laid the groundwork for the crackdown against the Uyghurs. Speeches that he has been giving out, calling for absolutely no mercy, quote unquote. This has perhaps confirmed what many activists like you have been saying from the very beginning. It's a state-sanctioned genocide against the Uyghurs.
We've been talking about this since we start our activism. High-rank officials make the decisions, and when it comes down to the lower levels, the lower level officials, they implement the policies, and how well they control the situation, and how well the high-rank officials really know how serious is the situation. Does Xi Jinping or the other higher officials know that there are rape in those camps, there are torture in the camps or detention centers? Does he know that they crack down the people who don't have anything to do with political or religious activities? Like my parents, you don't have any political ambitions, and they're not religious at all. I don't remember my parents practicing any religion. So many people like my parents been through all this. And it is time to, for example, Magnitsky Act that U.S. is start to, the empowering it. It's not yet empowered, but in Europe, for example, only 6 countries, including United Kingdom, Estonia, and I don't remember all of them, accept the Magnitsky law. I hope as many countries will accept similar laws, implement it, let the high-rank officials know that their action, their decision will be accountable by the global community, the powers.
Right, and given that these details are now in the public domain, do you think it's perhaps now time for the global community to come together, to take a tough stand, and perhaps resist doing business in or with China?
Just like I answered your first question, it is past the time. It's already about 3 years. The Uyghurs at abroad cannot contact with their family members. The millions of Uyghurs are suffering in those concentration camps. We don't have any knowledge what is really going on. We cannot go there and live streaming torture. We cannot bring more information or more evidence that there are genocide is happening. But all the science shows that there is something really serious is happening. The Geneva genocide, I forget the word. All the science show that possibly there are genocide is happening. What the world hesitate to act? The world is so slow to act on this matter. It is one of the biggest tragedy of 21st century. The many countries have diplomatic relationship with China, and they don't want to offend Chinese government, and they don't want to harm their economy because China is the second biggest economy of the world. So what is more important? What China exporting, it's not only the Chinese goods, but Chinese thoughts as well. I mean, now they're exporting this fundamental ideologies which is against the universal values that we are standing for. So we need to all together really do something against this evil power.
Right, that is the hope at large, and with these documents providing that inside look as far as the crackdown is concerned, this only means that there is intensified pressure on the global community also to step up and take a stand as far as those atrocities are concerned. We're going to leave it there for the moment. Dr. Halmurat, appreciate very much for joining us on the broadcast.